Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of the Small Ball Podcast. This is episode 9 for us, Chancy, and we're brought to you, as we have been the last several weeks, as we will be going forward for a little while, by The First, a bank here in the southeastern United States. They'll help you with any of your financial needs. They'll give you money, and they'll hold your money. So if you need them to do any of those things for you, go check them out at The First. Specifically, our guy Sirio up there in Starkville. So he's
yes, sir. I had lunch with him today.
Did you tell me his first name again?
Heath.
Heath Sirio up
Yes,
there
yeah,
in Starkville.
yeah.
And
I put him into the our coaches group to kind of letting some of these guys up here see what all we do and everything.
awesome. We got a guest sitting with us tonight too. I'm Charlie Rogers. He's Chancy Rogers, owner operator Bull Baseball, and then I've got another Rogers boy over here with me. This is Jaxon Rogers. You guys have heard us talk about him quite a bit on here. Lots of bad things, and man, he was just sitting in the living room. I said, "Hey, you want to go do the podcast with me? We don't have a guest tonight," and he said sure. So he's been asking for weeks if he could come on, and tonight we're going to talk about. We don't have a guest. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly of travel and showcase baseball. And so these are some of the things that he experiences on the weekends when he plays, and some of the things that you've seen and experienced as a coach. And then we want interaction. So anybody listening tonight, anybody watching, ask us questions. We want questions, comments, what you guys think about travel baseball, what you guys think about what we think about travel baseball, kind of what you think about our ideas and our thoughts as well. But first, Chancey, what's going on, man? How you doing today?
Man, Charlie, we just got off the field. We had wasn't on the field. We was at a cage, but had Nolan's little group. I'm trying to put together for him a little 6U, and they had a little hitting practice, and we hit a little bit in the cage. But I had lessons before that, and had our first rec ball practice last night. 6U Starkville, sponsored by Bull Baseball Club. I should have done a small ball podcast. So that might be another one. We're going to sponsor a rec ball team. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be great.
But yeah, we kind of just doing that, and got some cuts in and talking to some dads leaving there, and just rolled in 2 wheels. One reason we're a little late. Sorry about that, everybody. But yeah, we it's baseball season, man. It's that complex there in Starkville was packed with all rec ball teams getting excited, getting started, t-ball, little babies running around. I love it.
Oh, it's getting going for sure. And we're not playing this year, but we've played rec ball in the past, and we've had a blast. Jaxon, how was your day today?
Well, I went to school. Boring. Didn't have practice today.
What? No practice today?
I had a long day.
Long day. It sounds long. This is going to be awesome. I'm glad to have you on here, Jaxon. I think I saw a video popped up on my memories of him doing something. Maybe you posted, Charlie, but we've been doing this a long time and just watching these boys grow up. But the topic of this podcast is great, because we're I thought like our opinions, we sit and talk about everything, but nobody asked the kids, nobody asked the kids, nobody asked the players. So I think that'd be pretty cool. So Jaxon, sit back and just be ready, because I'm gonna be like, what do you think about that, big dog?
He'll give you his opinion for sure. I do want to jump in, Chancey, to our rule of the week. First thing Jaxon asked when we walked out here, he was like, well, what's the rule of the week this week? And the rule of the week is one that you brought up a couple weeks ago that you wanted to talk about, and then the tag up rule got us last week, so I had to bring that one up. But this one is the drop third strike. You wanted to kind of clarify that a little bit, and so obviously I'll set it up just real quick. I know it's not actually called a drop third strike. I know you've got a name for it, but it's when obviously you've got 2 strikes on the batter. There's a strike thrown, either a called strike or swing and miss. The catcher does not catch it. your batter can take off if that base is unoccupied. I know you'll explain that in just a minute, but the batter can take off, and if he beats the throw from the catcher to first base, then it goes down as a strikeout, but he's actually safe. We won't have any outs in the inning at that point.
Right. You know, Charlie, it's one of them rules that's it's kind of like a crazy rule in baseball. You know, I think, and that's why it gets confused with people, parents, players, and it's one of the and you know you in rec ball. I don't even think they do it. Sometimes I don't know.
Yeah,
You
they
know,
don't normally do it in rec ball.
it's because it's complicated, and so they have made it very complicated. But if you do it all the time, you don't think anything of it. But yeah, you nailed it. If the base is not occupied and the catcher does not catch the ball, so that includes dropping the pitch in their glove, if it hits the dirt at all, you know, before you know he could pick it and it still be uncaught third strike. Is that the believe is a term? I might be wrong. You probably looked it up more than I did, but I think it's an uncaught ball or whatever.
Yeah, uncaught ball. That's what you told me.
Yeah.
It was called uncaught ball.
Yeah.
So Sparkman jumped on here because there will be some kind of interruptions tonight a little bit because I do want people to interact. And one of our bull coaches, Ryan Sparkman, said 12U rec ball does do it.
Yeah, and then travel ball 9U, it starts at 9U when they start pitching. So yeah, so just to kind of fully finish it, yeah, the runner can run, the catcher has to throw him out, you know, and of course, you know, we work on that. Catchers have a certain thing they need to go outside or inside the bag, and that's just coaching and training. And we don't do a very good job, I think, because it's so complicated. Coaches don't work on it coming up, and you know, here we are playing 12U, and we've got to know these things. Also, the parents don't know it, so they freak out. So that, you know, they see a drop their strike and they're freaking out. It happened this weekend to another team. They threw it to the wrong spot. They threw it to first, and there was no reason to throw it to first because the first base is occupied. So that means even if the kid steals the bag, he's still at first till he gets to second. So
yeah, I was going to get you to explain that. So the occupied base mean even if he took off before the pitch, it's still occupied because he can go back to it.
Right. Well, he hadn't got to second yet. You can't assume he's going to steal second.
Right.
And so yeah, it's occupied. So the guy doesn't need to throw the ball, right? And because obviously you can throw it down first base line, whatever. But it happens because everybody's yelling and stuff. I see it all the time because coaching third base. I'm like, hush, no, just catch the ball or get the ball, and the guy's out. You don't have to tag him, nothing. He's out. It don't matter if you dropped it or not. Now with 2 outs, that's different. So that's where it gets crazy. So yeah, with 2 outs, you've got to do it, and so with bases loaded, I mean, you can do it with a force. It's a force, really, so you can look at it like he's hit a ground ball or something. I don't know how else to look at it, but people get it confused. But yeah, 2 outs, you gotta get him out. So either if it's like bases loading, step on the plate, or throw it to first, tag him, whatever you got to do.
And I did say you have to throw down to first. He's got to beat the throw, but the catcher can actually pick the ball up and tag him as well.
Right. It's just very similar to him hitting a ground ball. It's a force. So that's why, like you see it sometimes, they got bases loaded with 2 outs or something, and he picks a slider in the dirt. Catcher just go touch the plate, and he's out.
So yeah, and I think that was the reason I think that you wanted to kind of clarify that one on here was I think we ran into an issue or some kids got confused or something in one game where the ball bounced before the catcher caught it. He caught it on the bounce. He picked it, like you said. But that still counts as a drop third strike essentially, or an uncaught ball, even though he caught it, but it hit the ground first.
Oh yeah. He picked it. Yeah, he just picked it, and so our guy didn't even run. So it was like a like I'm more upset about my kid not running. Like I want him to know the rules rather than me trying to educate this umpire. So,
So let me ask you this part of that too. Because I've heard this and I assume it's true, but I don't know. I want to hear from you. if there's a drop third strike, the batter starts to walk back to his dugout. Is he giving himself up?
Yeah,
So he's
yeah.
out.
There's I believe that's going to be an umpire's discretion. You
Mhm.
know, if you argue it. But yeah, I mean, most times the catcher just goes and tags him regardless. I mean, I want, as a coach, I want my catchers very aggressive, like
Yeah.
finish every play until if it's a foul ball or whatever, off his foot or, I want them that aggressive. And who said that about Jay? That's Shannon.
That's
So
Shannon.
yeah, so to answer Shannon earlier too, Shannon, I got you on here. But so yeah, Wednesday nights aren't our nights. We originally wanted to do Tuesday, but it's
Yeah.
baseball season, so it's crazy right now with our guests we have on. Me, myself, Charlie. We did not prefer Wednesday nights because most people have church and whatnot. Tuesday, just like there'll be a bunch of folks at the Southern Miss game.
Mhm.
We're doing it when we can. I definitely cannot do it Thursday because I'm on the road half the day, and then as soon as I get to the Hattiesburg area, we're doing lessons, practice all the way till late night. Friday, very similar. Weekend and so said Jay, that's a big deal. Yeah. That's a big deal. PCS local private school that has to play some top notch Jaxon academy schools there, and so that's good for them. Good for them to get them kids developing.
PCS
Oh.
JV upset JA
Mhm.
tonight. Jaxon, do you pay attention to the rule of the week every week? And Coach Chancey's teaching these things.
Yes, sir.
Do you?
I do.
Okay. Have you learned what you want to tell us? Any rule that you've learned on the show?
I did not know that last one. If you go back to your dugout, you're giving yourself an out.
Okay, you didn't know that. If you strike out on a drop third strike, you start to walk back to your dugout. You're essentially giving yourself up. You didn't know that. Okay, so now Jackson's learned something on the show tonight.
Yep, and I think that rule extends into something else, but it very rare stuff. I'm not a rule enthusiast, but you play it enough, coach it enough, then you get to see a lot of different things as we have this year already.
Oh yeah, we already have. That's the crazy thing.
Oh yeah, yep.
We've already seen them. So did you, Chancey? Did you look up kind of the tournament winners this week?
Here's the issue. I did, and I'm gonna have to ask Monty. So it won't let me go back to past tournaments.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to ask Monty. There's no like archive or nothing, but like you go to the events, it just shows what's the upcoming. It doesn't have the past events, so I can't go in there and look. So again, I can tell you, who our guys, what our guys did, and so yeah, I got to do a better job of that, and I will. I've got to, like I said, I've got to figure out how to do that, or I'm gonna get Monty since he's a prime listener. Just get him to send me, and I'm using Grand Slam because that's 90% of our tournaments are that.
Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, so most of our teams was down in Picayune is a big Grand Slam event. I think one of their first ones. A lot of our teams went down to Picayune.
Sparkman says put in the date range, and you should be able to see past.
Well, I might have to give that duty to Sparkman since he's all over it.
I'm sure he'd love to compile a spreadsheet for us every week of the winners and losers in each tournament.
Oh yeah, and give his opinion about it. But our 11U, so Sparkman's in this. He was in this tournament. He played. So Coach Ryan Sparkman, me and him played at Jones together, and we've known each other for a long time. He's done a great job with his team here in our organization, and so he's got a 10U team, that's a AAA team, and like us, very hard to find tournaments that are 10U AAA or major, and so he plays 11U, and he had to play in this 11U tournament, and both of our 11U finished in the championship. So I was very proud of that. Our 11U Anderson and our 11U May, and 11U May ended up winning it, and so that's awesome. That's great for us, and it shows a lot, especially the Anderson team being first year in, and they've gotten a whole lot better, and to be able to make it through that. So, and we went to Picayune and let's see where they were. Yeah, Picayune. 7U was in Picayune. They got bumped up to AA, and as they bumped up, I think every 7U should start at single A. They're all single A until they're not. And there's enough teams to start separating them a little bit. But yeah, they've done well in their tournament, so they get to play some AA, and I was watching them pop up, and man, I think on Saturday they didn't allow over 3 runs, and they end up finishing runner up. They get wore out. That age, we'll get into it here in a minute. A lot of games on Sunday. Y'all been through it. 7 and 8, you man. It's almost unbelievable those kids can last that long, and they're not even pitching. But as much energy and I know the parents will wear out, because it wears me out going to them games because they yell so much.
Well, the thing nobody thinks about, Chancy, and I only thought about this because it was brought to my attention. The person who really suffers on those days are the coach who's pitching. So in our case, it was Mike, and we figured up one Sunday how many pitches he threw roughly, and in 4 or 5 games that day. He threw the equivalent of 10 major league games. He had thrown a ton of pitches, and you're counting on that guy to throw just darts every time. Difficult.
Throw strike. You got to throw strikes.
Yeah, he's the one that suffers, really, is the pitcher.
And it gets during the summer, and it gets so hot, and man, that's rough. I haven't had to do that. When we first started the organization, I threw to Anthony's team a few times, like if I was there, because I throw BP every day, so it's no big deal to me. But I can imagine, week in, week out. So hats off to the coach pitch thrower.
Yes, absolutely. Jaxon, you had a comment on that?
It's shown before. After Coach Mike has been pitching for a while, it shows.
It shows.
I can't imagine. He's gonna love that. He's gonna watch it. He's gonna watch it later and love that. Yeah.
His pitches aren't quite on point when he's throwing a few games.
I love it.
All right, go ahead.
Well, all right, and then 12U. So both our 12Us were in Jaxon, Flowwood, and they had a really good tournament up there. They had some really good teams, really good battles. The Bourne team, man, they played well all the way through, made it to the championship. Had some big time pitching performance, but they were hitting bombs, dude. So the semifinal, I was watching live on the way back from Daphne, and it was awesome. Landon Warsham hit a 2-run bomb. Man, there was some kids that hadn't hit home runs yet, hit them, and it wasn't the Columbia fields, it wasn't 200-foot fields. But yeah, I think 9 total or something. I've done a little video I put out of a lot of them. I didn't get all of them, was a lot of them, but Coach Drew's 12U the same way. They battled all the way up to the semis. Got beat by the team that won it, Moyer, I believe, was it. But
the Moyer Warriors. I saw that. That name over there.
Yeah, and so there's, we'll talk about it later. But yeah, they had they had a kid that could throw it, and he happened to pitch the semis and the championship. So yeah, 143 pitches in a day. So yeah,
well, that's one of the questions that I had too that we were going to talk about. So yeah, we'll definitely bring that up.
Yep. And so, but they battled good. And I was proud of both of those groups, even though Bourne get to take the picture at the end of the day. That Robin's group had a good weekend too, and so that's our. That really, that kind of makes the topic, and not just the pitching thing, but like even though Drew and them didn't win it, and they don't get the post, and and of course some mamas and stuff probably going to post and be excited to be proud of their kid. But you're not going to win all these tournaments, and you can play really well and not win it, and that's the struggle with this thing. What it's turned into in the last 10 years is we have to chase these tournaments, and so
Yeah.
and we have to play these games, and so I like I like the pool play games that we have to battle and win. Nobody posts about that win, and
Mhm.
and I say post, the posts don't matter, but that's what we see, right? So that's
Mhm.
what everybody else see. Nobody knows, we're not going to advertise and say, just like us, went down to Daphne, we played terrible first game, second game played really well against a better team, probably the better team we played all weekend, and
Mhm.
against two of the better arms we faced all year, I believe. And I love the team we played. I love the team that I coached that night, and had some big hits and played really good defense, and it was a really good baseball game, and that's a win. And so, it's hard to advertise that. It's hard to and I won't say advertise. It's hard to reward that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Oh, we done good there without sounding well. You didn't win the tournament.
Right.
And
At
that
the end of the weekend, when you say we went 1-2, but we played a really great game in the one we won, it almost sounds like a consolation prize, right? Or like a moral victory, even.
Yeah, and that's and that's nowhere close to what what all this should be about, and it's
Mhm.
hard. It's hard. You have to have something. So yeah, that's kind of I wanted to talk about and see what some other. I like the rules discussion. I want to see what other coaches feel about it, and feel when they come home on their Sundays when they don't win. You know the disappointment you feel. Um, Oh, Spartan's texting me something else. Oh, he's giving us another rule. We're gonna have to Spartan. We're gonna get on that next week.
We need
Uh,
Sparkman to sponsor the rule of the week, and then he can just provide the rule.
yeah, he's got that company over there. He's always giving me cool stuff from there. So yeah, we're gonna have to get a sponsor on that. Um,
Well, so that leads it. So that leads us right into the conversation, Chancey, because a
yeah,
question I wanted to ask, and Matt Ward's one of our dads. He's coached several travel ball teams around South Mississippi over the last several years, and he said on Instagram, he said some coaches will do anything for a ring. 143 pitches. Does travel ball and showcase ball, I guess mainly travel ball here, does that put too much emphasis on winning at this age? I mean, are we emphasizing winning games more than we should and taking away from other things?
um, yeah, because I think it's what we see. I think it's what and I say we kind of like the consumer. You as a dad is a consumer of this. So me as an owner, I'm a consumer of this. It's like I've got buddies that their kids don't do this, and they like fishing, or they like whatever, so that's what they're looking for that. They're looking for who won this weekend,
Mhm.
or whatnot. So you know me, that I'm in it. I got in this business for, I love seeing kids get better. I just like it. Just I one if it don't matter the level, and I've talked about it several times on here, I want to see them get better at something they're not good at. And they're good at baseball, but there's so many elements in baseball, so many levels and sections. You section it out. Art, just like Jaxon. Me and him worked on defense early in the fall this year. He got better at that. Man, that pumps me up. I love that. So that's why I'm in it. But I think everybody else is too, to a different extent. We get that feeling, when we win a tournament, there's a feeling, it's like, oh
Mhm.
man, it's a relief, it's a accomplishment. It is very hard, no doubt. It don't matter, what level you play at. It's hard to do. So when you do win one, man, it's awesome. We're going to tell everybody about it, and that's what people see. But it's so much more into it than that. And I think there's plenty of people out there that understand that, but it's hard to celebrate That's the word. That's the word. It's hard to celebrate when you don't. And just like this weekend, there's 20-something teams was in it.
I think it was 22 teams in that.
22.
That tournament is very hard to win. It don't matter. You look at this, what March Madness. It don't matter if you are the best team out there. It's still hard. There is a very good chance somebody might beat you. And
well, that's why they play. That's why at every other level of baseball they play series.
Yes,
because anybody can win one game, but who can win? 2 out of 3. That's where you determine who the better team is. Anybody can win one game. A lot of times it just depends on the pitcher who's throwing the game.
Right. And I think tournament companies, they've kind of went. They adjust and they create their platform, their structure on what makes sense to get obviously people to the park. So tournament companies don't make money off of tournament entries. That's not their bread and butter. Their bread and butter is mama, grandpa, auntie, whoever, sister's friend to come in that gate. And so whatever it takes to get them to show up on Saturday and to show up on Sunday. And so it's understandable. And then it gets to where, all right, what's going to get them excited and more teams to come to these things? So back 10 years ago when it first started, you didn't get rings all the time. The ring thing started right around there. I was with 59. It was second or third year in. And really, U-Trip started doing it. GSSA started doing it, and then the kids just liked the rings better. So it was just like, all right, we'll do these rings. But still, there's a winner. So it's that bragging rights. Well, some of them, it didn't matter. Just as long as we made it to the championship game and we got a ring, the excitement, the celebration happened. Like, oh, well, this. And so, we're at fault with it too. But that's the only thing to celebrate. So I've been pondering on some different layouts, because what I hate about it, on Sunday, it's almost impossible to go that long without killing kids. One thing, it's not just throwing way too many pitches. That kid that threw that many pitches, I'm sure, played a significant role in the defensively somewhere. Just like we had probably Hayden probably threw the most this weekend on Sunday. If we end up winning that game, which we're very close to doing, I really wouldn't want him to play in the field the rest of the weekend.
Yeah,
my opinion, but that would almost be impossible unless I've got 16 kids on the roster.
Right.
And that's another thing. It's hard. That's hard to do.
Then when you sit that kid the rest of the weekend, that doesn't make parents happy and that kind of thing.
No, you get into that situation. But if you had a way where you only played 4 games on a weekend, like 4 games guaranteed, things would change. In showcase ball, that is a thing. There's not a winner. There's nothing. You just go and showcase for 4 games. It's beautiful. There's no winner. That's what I like. I get real excited during showcase time because it takes that away. Because I have to battle with it. I battle with it with our team. This is a new team. We're struggling. I see everybody post about it. You talked about it. They're not used to losing. I haven't felt like I've been coaching for 10 years, like coaching A team. And this is probably the first year I can't name one team that I was upset that we were playing, meaning they were so bad that it was pointless for us to play. We hadn't really played a team like that. And that's beautiful to me, because usually, like when we get Born on here, he's going to tell you, we played so many teams back before Jaxon, or back before Grand Slam took over Jaxon, and where the tournaments were better. We would play teams that, I would be so upset. It was pointless for us to play. It wasn't structured where, they didn't need to be playing with us. Now, mind you, sometimes we didn't play very well against them, but it was such bad baseball. I didn't want my kids to even be around it. It was
Right.
very, very bad baseball. I haven't felt like we've done that. Like we've played very well coached teams, and it's been good games. We haven't got blown out really. And
No, you can go to tournaments you can find tournaments every weekend around the state where there are teams that, and I'm trying to say this diplomatically, but there are teams that go there to win, and it doesn't matter who they're playing. They went there, saw the competition, knew they could win it, and that's why they went there. And I have been proud of this team and this team in the past with Mike and the coaches that we've had, where we've never really done that. We may have shown up at a tournament and rolled through it, but we didn't do it intentionally. Like we didn't know it was going to be that way. You go out of state sometimes and you play a tournament, you don't know who you're playing.
Right.
But we've never intentionally gone to a tournament that we knew we could just roll through, because that doesn't make the kids better. And honestly, you've said it before too, you can go up there and win 4 games by 10 runs and get worse as a team
yeah.
and as a player.
There's no doubt. I mean, I see it on like last night, playing rec ball, got Nolan doing this with some of his buddies and doing infield classes, and they've gotten better fielding ground balls and stuff. And then you put them out there with 6 kids that have no clue, they slow down. And so it's like, it's not really, their competition level just shuts down a little bit, and it's very noticeable there. But I think Matt Ward posted about it too, and I don't know the team or whatever, but they dropped down to AA just to get into that tournament, and they outscored them 50-something to whatever he said, but it was outrageous, and I definitely don't want us to do that. I mean, like y'all have already done that before. I've already seen this team do that. They're definitely very capable, and there's no like, we definitely can compete with 12 of you, and but we definitely have. We've had some games we didn't play our best, no doubt, and we'll fix that. And that's just like, I love having something to fix, so it's great. This is great. That's the way I look at it. But it's very hard. Also, I didn't want to go 1-2 either. I mean, I'm mad about that. But
that's the line. That's the line though that you have to walk. Is
right.
You want to play the competition that makes you better. But at the end of the day, losing kind of sucks too, right? Like, I mean,
there's no doubt. So and that's why I think there's a different structure we could do. Say if we, I'm not going to use this Daphne tournament, but just say we go to Petal one weekend, Columbia one weekend, and all we have to do is play 4 games. So we might win 3, we might win 2, we might win 1. And that's not a very good weekend, but that's just the way our schedule got. We schedule some tough teams or whatever. So that's just part of it. But then if you could get ranked out of that, where it's not like you're chasing, like you have to win 5 games on Sunday to be the champion to get celebrated. And like Coach Anthony was texting me while they was making their run, he's like, good Lord, there's too many games. They're out of pitching. I mean, he could have thrown Landon Worsham and made that last game a lot closer, I promise you. But he's not going to. He's not going to kill that kid. He's not going to prevent him from. I mean, in a couple of years, that kid's, we're going to be talking about. He's going to be getting recruited. And Anthony's not going to ruin that for him because of that. And you only want to put that in his head. I mean, that's not how it works. It's pitchers can't do that, and really, to me, position players can't do that. If you look at kids like Mitch, if I got Mitch catching a whole game and then he's got to go in and pitch this next game during the same day, that's so hard. That's why you don't see it. We had
that's why they don't do that in college. That's why they don't do that in
you're not going to catch the day before probably, and in high school, it gets a little rough in that too. I've seen some local kids. I see some now that's having to play a position, and they're not as sharp as a pitcher as they were when they wasn't playing a position. And I definitely think that's the reason. It's hard. If you're able to take a day off or a game off and DH, but then that puts in a mind where you don't have that player that's as equal level to replace him, to give him that rest. And so it's hard. And it's so in the coach's job on a high school end, it's their job to win. If they don't win, they don't have a job. And so it's a hard fine line. But I think travel ball, to me, it's almost like NIL. It's just it's there's no rules or limitations. It's like, all right, let's create this awesome thing where we go and win a tournament and everybody goes nuts and buys tents and wagons and hotel rooms and we go swimming and have parties and take pictures, and it's a whole thing. They've done a great job of that, but I think it's gotten into where it's just like it's so maniac of like, oh, let's go win a tournament every weekend that you get these disappointed ones, and then they start jumping teams because that team don't win, and then it just goes back and forth and it becomes a complete mess, I believe, and I see it.
I want to ask Jaxon about that because you listening?
Yes, sir.
So what would you rather as a player go to a tournament, play good competition, go play against good teams and maybe lose some games, or would you rather go to a tournament and just roll through it and win everything?
So that's a good question, but I would say go and lose games because we learn stuff. We don't just roll through, and we make it worse if we do just roll through. And if we play tougher teams, we can experience it and just get better from it and work on stuff from it on Thursday night practices.
He's ready for Thursday night practice.
I'm not ready.
That's a very good answer, Jaxon. That's a very good answer. But, I don't know how much that is of you just being coached by Dad or me and
listening.
And listening to know what's good. And that's a thing because, I know, deep inside of you, just here's an example. Your dad uses you as an example a lot. I use Nolan as an example. Now, Nolan's 5, but last night, I can say this on here. Last night, rec ball is there's 5 kids that are decent on the team. The other 5 are, they have no desire to even go to the baseball. So I have the better 5 hitting and the other 5 out in the field. Well, Nolan hit 2 balls. I mean, he smoked them now on a bigger field and went all the way to the fence. So guess what? He got him a home run. He hadn't experienced that yet. So that excitement of that was great. Like, I mean, he got the home plate. Let's go. He's never had that before. So I think, you do need to experience that some, but then I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen. He doesn't need to hit a line drive to left field and that be a home run. He needs to learn how to round the base and try to make it a double or whatever, so there's some, I guess, I don't know, say a game to play. It's a fine line. I'm trying not to be cliche with it, but there's time for that. And there's time to challenge yourself, it'd be Jaxon. So it'd be like me just throwing easy BP or front toss. You'd be like, I like hitting like that rather than me turning the machine up and making it very difficult, or me throwing curveballs live or facing live pitching. It's fun hitting front toss and you just hammer, but is that, are you going to be a better hitter by just doing front toss? Do you think that?
No, sir.
But sometimes it can be fun, and that's important to do too. And that's why we, why we do live at 5, live and 5 and live.
No, sir.
It's because of that. I do that because of that. Because you're gonna hit off my BP. Everybody's gonna hit. Nobody struggles with 5 and live, right?
Yes, sir.
Everybody hits good, and so we do that for defense to get a lot of defensive reps. But the hitters, they get up there and get confident. Then we go live after that, right? Off of our pitchers. And so, we got a little BP in. We're confident. We get up to the plate. We expect to hit. So that's why we do that. Also, I do that. I like doing at the facility. We do those games we play on Fridays off the machine or off of BP. And most of the time, y'all hit pretty good, So that's build confidence and all that too. All that is to create that to go to these tournaments that are very, very tough. You, here's the deal: they won't let us play it.
Right.
They ain't gonna let us play it. Y'all won so much. It don't matter where we go, especially in Mississippi because of Grand Slam.
Well, and that's why we've had to play. That's why we've had to play. I mean, I know we've signed up for some 12U, but we've also signed up for a couple of 11U tournaments that we couldn't play in, so we had to play 12U.
Oh, yeah.
And that's to challenge you because they won't let you go to these tournaments anymore and just roll through them. You talked earlier about in 7U, you're 7U single A until you're not, right? Well, that's not how it works. Once they get older and there's a precedent set, like when we sign up at the very beginning of the season, when Mike signs us up, he's got to go ahead and sign us up for AAA. And that's not just us, or not to brag or anything like that, because we have struggled. But that's any team that has that precedent set. They've got to sign up for that level that they're at, because they're not going to let you just go to a tournament and roll through it anymore.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And it looks like Matt Ward here, tougher pitching, closer games is what build players better and separate them when it comes for school ball. And that's completely right. I know over at Summerall, Coach Davis, he pushes kids to play travel ball for that competition. School ball, you're going to have some schools that you play kids that play travel ball and they're terrible. Mm-hmm. But if you go to a school, if you're on the team with kids that play travel ball, depending on what competition, what their travel ball team, like their goal was, it's going to separate you of where you fit in on that team, which also lead forward to you moving up to ninth grade and JV. Like just in Summerall, because we have a bunch of Summerall kids, I can't tell you how many kids have moved up this year that I'm super proud of that I've coached, and not because of me. I'm not saying because of me, but we've been doing the same thing, and I mean the 15U team that I had since they were 11, just like this group. I mean, it were times where, hey, we'd come out and win the first couple of tournaments, and I'd tell Anthony, don't book another one like that. Mm-hmm. Let's do something else. Mm-hmm. And not saying I want them to get beat, but I want them to face better pitching. I want them to face better hitters, because, if I got a kid that got a good fastball and he's blowing it by everybody there, well, guess what? He's not going to be as sharp, like competitiveness, to try to beat this one of the better hitters in the area at this age or whatever. So, and that sometimes that's hard to find, no doubt, but you got to do it, and you've got to almost train parents. I don't want to say train parents, but make parents understand that is helping their little baby more than just them like, woo, we won that tournament,
Well, the 11U AAA team, and I'm not saying they do this every weekend. I don't know. Matt knows them better. But the 11U AAA team that dropped down to AA and only had a couple of runs scored on them this weekend, if you do that every weekend, eventually that shows up. That's, like you said, when you get into middle school ball, you get into high school ball, it shows that you just win and we're never challenged.
Oh, yeah.
And it's fun. I mean, it's fun now. Go and beat up on all the teams and win the tournaments and take your ring pictures and all that stuff. But eventually it's going to show that that's how you did it.
No doubt. And look, and if kids understand what some of these players they've looked up to, I'm not a big reader, but I did start a Bryce Harper book one time. It's called Phenom, I believe. It's very good. It kind of tells a story. So if people that don't know, Bryce got his GED when he was 16 and went and played JUCO. Mm-hmm. And that was requested by his high school coach, because Bryce was, everybody knew him at 15. He was like LeBron James of baseball. Like, he was a big time prospect, and he had to go get challenged. Like, he wasn't going to get any better. Like, he was really good at 15, but he couldn't play the major leagues when he was 15, right? Mm-hmm, right. So he had to go to JUCO, and he failed his first year. He did not do well. And so, yeah, he got better, and then he ended up being whatever. He won a bunch of stuff there. but it was all wood bat, something. I don't know. It was a neat thing that he did. And yeah, that helped him become who he is now. I promise you. And to this day, he has to get challenged. And so, he learned that during that time. And I'm sure through his youth age, I mean, he just completely dominated. I mean, he was just better than everybody else. So you got to find that challenge. You got to, and he was one of the ones that, like, perfect game will that put teams together where the best of the best play. And they have to, and it's like our best player right now, Connor Griffin. Well, when he gets drafted, they'll go put him with some other big time players. And so he's going to have to prove he can, he's going to struggle as soon as he gets there. No doubt. It doesn't matter how many state championships he won at Jaxon Prep. It's nowhere comparing to what he can't face himself. I mean, he's throwing 95. Everybody else ain't throwing 95. Now, when he gets put on another draft team, like he'll be on a rookie ball league, I'm sure. Everybody will be throwing 95. So yeah, now we'll see. And I know he'll do well because I've seen what he's done. He'll do well, but he has to do that to be able to make it to the big leagues. And that's part of that's like been a part of baseball since it started. You have to have that.
I think there's an element there too of if you don't ever get challenged, then you don't know how you respond to a challenge. Like there's the emotional and the mental aspect of it too, that again, if you don't do it, if you never put yourself in that position, then when it does happen, you don't know how to respond to it. You don't know how you naturally respond to it.
So as you said that, Dr. Allison Rogers joined, and she's not here. She was at a meeting at Mississippi State, and so hopefully she's driving down the road headed here because Nolan. There we go, preach, Charlie. So we're going to get her on after basketball season. I'm not going to let her get on until after basketball season. So if y'all don't know the women's basketball team here at Mississippi State, they're in the WBIT. They're headed to Penn State College tomorrow. They play Thursday. So, but yeah, she will absolutely tell you that. And, she gets to hear stories from, these college kids of how they grew up, and most of them had to have some type of adversity to be able to be as good as what they are. And it doesn't matter what that is, and we're, as coaches, organization owners, tournament companies, we're trying to create that just on a competitive level, playing a baseball game, and so, I think that has to, like, you have to find that for your kid, just parents out there listening, to where, like, everything, like, you can't buy their success. You can't, drive them to the success. Their success is going to come from them failing and understanding, saying, hey, I want to get better at that. I want to get, I don't want to not hit. I don't want to not be able to take a ground ball. I don't want to not be able to throw strikes. And that's what's going to create them as a high school player, as a college player. Right. It's that mental side of, like, they have to struggle somewhere to even find that somewhere. And so that's the beauty of it. I love that part of it. It is very hard as a coach or for me as an organization owner, because if I got a team that don't win a lot, I hear about it. I have parents call me and it's like, I have parents that think their kid's a lot better than their team. And, I wish they didn't care about that. I really do. And I want that, like, most of the time what I say is, like, well, make him show it. Like, like be the complete dude, be the dude on that team, and let them learn how to help that team win. Because guess what? That's attractive. That'll show up in high school. It'll show up in high school big time, and, I mean, I could tell I can go to a high school game and watch a team play, and I can show you their dudes. They could go 0 for 4 with 4 Ks, and I'll still say that's their dude. And it's usually how they approach the game and their leadership or just their actions and their actions after they struck out. So, if it's a kid that never strikes out and they strike out, they're going to be upset.
You can be the best player on the team and you can say, hey, I'm better than this team or whatever, or you can be the best player on the team and you can use your skill and your ability and your voice to help them get better and bring them up to your level. That's a personality thing, and that's where you got to decide whether you want to just be the guy and just focus on you, or if you want to use that ability. Because if you're the best player on the team and you know it, everybody else knows it too, right? And so those guys are looking at you, and you can help them. You can use your voice and your abilities to make them better, or you can just complain about it and leave them behind. And I think that's where you need to be challenged, and that's where those leaders that come out, and that's where that personalities come out. Is you got a choice to make at that point if you're the best player on the team. Jackson's writing right here. Jackson, what are you writing?
Going back on to what you said, you don't know what to do when you are challenged. And I was going to say, like, rec ball, you may be a stud in rec ball, or you may be like the best player in rec ball, but once you start playing travel ball, you're not going to know what's coming. And you're going to think you're the best player, and you're going to find out.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, too, a lot of times, when Jaxon would play rec ball, he was one of the better players on the team. And I would always tell him, hey, don't just go out there and be one of the better players on the team. Go out there and help those guys that don't get the coaching, that don't have Coach Mike, that don't have Coach Chancy. You can coach them. You can tell them, hey, fielder's triangle, do these things like this, and that'll make you a better player. Or you can just stand over there and play shortstop and wait till the season's over and complain about being the best player on the team.
And complaining about them being bad. And so, that just creates true character, no doubt. And that's why this game is beautiful. And that's why in this game you play more games than any other sport. There's not another sport that plays as many games in a year at the professional level, any level. And because you have to, you have to play that many. And I love that what Jackson's saying, because it's very similar to when you go to college. I mean, there's so many kids that, I was one of them. That's why I love it. And I definitely, I grew up in a small school, and I was good. I was an all-state infielder, got awards, take my picture, put it in the paper. I was the only senior, made it to South State. I was good. Got offered from Jones College, who just won a state championship. I'm good. I show up to Jones. No, everybody else is good. They're better than me. Yeah. It made me plumb mad. And I was a hard worker, but I had to turn it on even more. I had 26 errors my freshman year. I had 2, I think, my whole career at Greene County in high school, and so, I hate it. And Sparkman, if he's still on here, he knows me and Cub would stay after so late, learn how to do slow rollers. I didn't know how to do a slow roller, just come get it, but I didn't know how to properly do it and get rid of it to throw guys out that are college athletes so they can get down the line, especially from shortstop. Good Lord, it was terrible. But I had to do that. I wish I'd have knew that going in. I would have worked way harder that summer before I got to Jones. I always think about that. That summer, like, you could think back and say, I could have done this better. That's what I could have done better. I was too worried about moving into my house, and, I got my buddies. I'm in college, and yeah, that is fun and stuff, but I could have done that. And after we moved our stuff in, right up to the field and go take ground balls. I could have done that, but I didn't, and so, that with me being able to, have my hands on a lot of kids, I try to give that information to them, because I didn't. I had a great stepdad that, that helped me, understand college baseball, because he played it. He knew I was going to work hard, but it's gotten like the talent level, it just goes up every year. It's like, that's one reason travel ball is so competitive. And these kids are way better than I was when I was their age. It's just the tier. It's like kids being smarter. I think kids are way smarter at kindergarten than we was learning our shapes and colors.
Well, that kind of brings us full circle. You're talking about players being better. I want to shout out 2 things real quick. Jake, we always talk about Jake watching. Jake's watching. He wanted to say hey to Jaxon. So
what's up, Jake?
He commented, said hey to Jaxon. Also, Mike just texted me, said Carson Pato, friend of the podcast, is 3 for 3 right now with a single, double, and a homer.
We didn't find one in the corner.
Yeah, that's what Jackson's over here saying. He's going to hit for the cycle here tonight.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. Yeah, proud of Pato. He's right there hitting 230 something, and he needed a good game to get his average up, get his confidence up, and that's a struggle. Carson Pato is a very good baseball player, and he's playing at the higher level in college baseball, and that struggle is going to keep him driving, and so it's score update since we're talking college baseball. You're going to tell us about Florida State? Oh, score update. Yeah, I don't know the score. I'd have to look at it.
I don't know.
No, he's giving it to us. He's giving it to us.
Okay. So, number 17, Florida State, 14. Who they playing?
I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's coming.
But that brings us full circle. We'll see. Whenever he says it, I'll say it. But that brings us kind of full. FSU beat Florida 14-3.
Yeah.
Oh wow. He's Matt is a Seminole through and through.
Just wait.
And and what?
Just wait
for what?
For them to lose.
Oh, for them to lose.
Number 6 Florida. Yeah, number 6
Florida. But it brings us full circle in that. Do you think we're talking about the effects of travel ball and showcase ball? You said the players are better now than they were, just like kids are smarter now and that kind of thing. Does that come from maybe better coaching in the travel ball world than kind of what you would get in rec ball in the past? Or do you think that really hasn't made that much of a difference?
No, I think it has. And I think travel baseball has definitely helped kids they see what's good all the time. And so that's the big plus of this. The problem I see, and I'll use this comparison here, is understanding that there's so many now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so many kids involved with baseball. There's no, which is great. Rec ball's numbers went up, travel ball's numbers went up. There's so many more kids playing baseball, and I think it's from travel ball. Travel ball can take the credit for it because that's what you see when you get on social media. Social media has helped advertise, hey, I have a child and he does good in baseball. We post about it every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you have your friends who are on there. They have a child and like, hey, he needs to play baseball like so-and-so's kid. So they put them in rec ball, whatever, and they move their way up. Well, the misunderstanding of what's good and bad, like when we was at 59, so we had Alec Carty, right, on the podcast.
Yep.
Well, that particular team, when they were 13 and 14, we had 2 teams in that age group. The other team was the better team. I coached the lower team, the B team, if you would say. And that team was really good. Like they played up, like when they got to 14, they played up 15 and 16 sometimes. They were good. They thought they were really good, but they were really wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that, like structurally they wasn't good. These kids had kids that can run and throw hard and hit hard, not necessarily baseball players.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them, very proud of, he's a Mississippi State guy, DeCarlos Nicholson, and he'll tell you this. He wanted to play shortstop so bad. He's super athlete. And ended up playing. He was a quarterback for Petal. Went to play quarterback at Mississippi Gulf Coast. Then moved him defensive back. Got to play in the SEC. Now he's at USC, and like a hard worker. I loved him. There ain't no doubt. But he wasn't a shortstop. You know what I mean? But he played shortstop some. He was fast, long. He could throw hard, all the stuff. But he wasn't a good shortstop. So mind you, that whole team, he's the only one still playing something.
Mm-hmm.
Alex's team, there were several of them that played 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
They were not the best team, but they did not win nowhere near as many tournaments. Nowhere near. And so that's kind of what I'm getting to. The title of the podcast,
Mm-hmm.
Tournament Champions, or we're creating prospects. And we're like, all right, well, what's a good baseball player? the one that won a lot of tournaments are the ones that done what they're supposed to. Yeah, they play travel ball and they play the tournaments. And I say this to Jackson's team all the time, and I've said it on here. Tournament baseball isn't about you winning the tournament. It's about the games you play in it. And we can't always advertise or celebrate. The word is celebrate of the day. That's the word of the day. Celebrate. We can't celebrate that pool play game that we played really well in. You know what I mean? Because there's what are you going to say? It'd be weird if you posted about that. I think it's weird, but I can celebrate it with my team. I can make them understand, hey, this is what you did well. This is what made you a better baseball player that night. It might have been you just going down there and running a pole, coming back, knowing that I was upset, me knowing that you were not on your top level of focus or energy or whatever, and it made you learn how to turn it up. And that, to me, that's what coaches do. You know, like they tell you what you're not where you're supposed to be, in a sense. And so, that night, we was dropping fly balls. They were flat. It's spring break. It's full moon. It's all the stuff. I can make a list of the excuses. This is where we are. Let's make an adjustment. And they did. I thought they did finish that game. We walked all the way down to that other field, had to wait. I was mad because we had to wait. We get in there and it was a baseball game. That lefty was beautiful. The righty they brought in was throwing gas. We still, we had Jaxon had a great at bat, and he's been struggling at the plate. He has a great at bat, and that's beautiful baseball to me. You know what I mean? Hunter Pitts has a great at bat that scores our runs, and we play great defense and we win that game. It was great, and we shake their hands, and it's see you tomorrow. Yeah, and then and we played pretty good the next day. We didn't hit, but crap, it was 0-0 in the fourth or fifth or something right there. It was just like. There was nothing sloppy. We just didn't hit, and that's going to happen. And then we have a bad inning right there at the end. They beat us. We're going to fix those kind of things. But the beautiful thing is them making those adjustments in that second game of that whole tournament. That's what we paid that money for, that game. But nobody can talk about it. Nobody can. In my eyes, because I've seen it, I've done it, and I've seen kids get better. That game got those kids better, not the Sunday game. The Sunday game didn't matter. They're just going to be upset about it. Parents are going to be upset about it. And this happened. I'm just using our team as an example. This happens every weekend to somebody. And then they call me. I know I've got to call people back from our organization. I know what it's about because they didn't win the tournament. And
you said it. 22 teams in our age bracket. Only one team wins. Only one team wins it. There's only one team, and I've heard this said. This is an NFL thing. I heard somebody talking about one day, but there's only one team that wins their last game. NFL 32 teams. Only one of them wins their last game. It's
super hard, and we're having to play a Super Bowl every weekend. That's what I don't like about it. I don't want it to be a Super Bowl every weekend. I want to have a season. And that's where the T-shirt of "Make Rec Ball Great Again." That's what I would love. I would love us to play a travel ball season, a tournament season. Take travel ball out of it. Let's just play a baseball season, Mississippi Baseball Association season, whatever. We're an amateur youth baseball team that we put together. We're Bad News Bears. We're Bad News Bulls. Whatever.
Yeah.
We have a season, and then we get to make. We do well. We make playoffs. Whatever.
It would be kind of the best of both worlds because the issue with rec ball and we're both advocates of rec ball, but what happens in rec ball is you don't get to create your team. You go. In fact, if you try to put a team in it, they shoot that down real quick. Yep. You don't get to create your team. So
I'm still pushing it.
You don't get to put that full team that you're going to work with for a couple of years and get together and work on intricacies. You have to draft these teams and it's kids that you don't know. And then after the season, they go to different teams and the next year is completely different. So something like that would be kind of the best of both worlds where you could work with your team year after year or season over season, but also be able to play more like a rec schedule instead of putting all the pressure. You can go to one of these tournaments and play 5 games. The only one that sticks in people's minds, and like you said, the only one you can celebrate is the last one.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
Or celebrate or be disappointed on.
Right. Yeah. It all hinges on the last game. It doesn't matter what you did in pool play. It doesn't matter if this kid pitched a shutout in a pool play game. His mama's gonna advertise that and brag about that. But at the end of the tournament, very few people other than the coach and the parent is going to say, he threw a shutout the other day.
Oh yeah. Look, I can't tell you how many times on Mondays, you get on Facebook and you see we didn't get the results we wanted, but my baby done this. It didn't end the way we wanted it or whatever. Mm-hmm. So you see so many posts like that, and yeah, there's nothing wrong with it because they went to that tournament to win it, mm-hmm. and that's what they wanted the ultimate goal to be, mm-hmm. and it shouldn't be. Yeah, we want to win every single game, but I'm a big Texas Rangers fan. Well, they lost 100 games last year. It's just they won the World Series,
but they won the last one.
They won the last one, and so but they had a season, and mm-hmm. that season got them better, and that's what I want to get at. Like, what's getting them better? Them chasing, the ring. So we'll use the example in the 12U. So that kid pitching that extra game that he did not need to pitch. Mm-hmm. 2 games in one day. He was able to do it because of innings. We'll we'll finish with that. That definitely has to change. It's too much technology. Every 2D, everybody does pitch count. Mm-hmm. Besides, we got to fix it. So there's another kid on that team that should have pitched that championship game and might have got beat.
Yeah.
But he didn't get that opportunity because there's one kid that throws hard and beats everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. They're gonna go, and they're gonna say, "Hey, did you pitch this weekend?" He's gonna say, "No."
We won.
We had one kid that threw 150 pitches.
We won.
Right? Yeah. We got a ring. We took a picture. We did all that stuff. But that's exactly right, and that's what Mike's question was. For me to present was, there was a kid pitched. This may be the same kid you're talking about. Pitched 41 pitches in the first game on Sunday, then threw another 83 in the second game. It's 100. I think so. I think it's the same kid you're talking about. But I just don't get it. But we put so much emphasis on winning that tournament that 1, we're hurting the kid, and 2, we're hurting his teammates because they're not getting an opportunity, like you just said, to pitch or to play short or whatever.
Well, that's one reason we did what we did in pool play today, and it happens. So I have multiple things. I think kids should get their pitch count up like throughout the year. It's good for them. Certain kids that's going to pitch, and Jaxon's done it. He's pitched a whole pool play game and got his pitch count up. But then, I want to make sure everybody gets those innings in. So sometimes you have to. That's why college does it. You see Southern Miss, they'll pitch Johnny Holstaff. Ostrander's getting those kids some innings for down the road. They've had that experience, and sometimes you get on one of their posts, and I'm sure Ole Miss does the same thing. The best coach in America on these forums where everybody puts in their opinion. They think they should have done this to win that game, and promise you, everybody wants to win that game, but there's certain things you have to do throughout a season. And then this is a breakdown throughout a season, throughout a year, throughout a career. There's certain things kids have to be able to do. And that's where I have a Super Bowl every weekend. I have a final game every weekend, to me, becomes a major problem. Mm-hmm. And it was a great concept to get everybody excited and have something for everybody to chase. But I think there's other ways, and I'm going to present it. I've got it on paper now, so it's going to get dangerous. So the Monty and some of these other guys are going to hear it, and if they don't do it, I'm going to do it. And so it's coming, and I just think there's better ways that with the technology of where you could be able to post rankings far as teams go. and in certain areas. PBR does a great job with our high school like that. Every week they've got, rankings. And I know those kids look at that and they want that. They strive to that, but they don't have to win the state championship every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They
right.
need to win some district games, and sometimes you might split those district games, but it's okay. It's not your season's not over with. Our season starts on Saturday morning and ends on Sunday night. It's crazy. And it shouldn't be that way. They shouldn't feel disappointed. They should feel ticked off because we lost a game. Yeah. It's just a game. It's 3 games we play. We're going to play 100 of them. So, and that's a hard thing to do. Yeah, we want to win more of them. We would win more of them if we had a season. I promise you that. And so because Mitch would pitch more, Jake would pitch more. I'm just using our team. You have all those guys that you could pitch, but no. Guess what we have to do? Save them till the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that's what gets crazy to me. I think it's messed up a lot of kids' arms for one thing. If everybody want to fuss about arms, it's not throwing them too much. Sometimes it's throwing them too less. And so that's what I hate about it.
Yeah, because if you save them, just like this past weekend, if we had won all the way through on Sunday, we'd have played 4 games. So you're saying, hey, we got to save some guys for this. Well, then that game doesn't happen if you lose, and so then you may go 3 weekends, 3 tournaments where a couple of guys don't get to pitch just because that game didn't happen. Where if you had a season, that game's scheduled, it's happening.
It's happening. It's happening no matter what. And also, just like this weekend, you're 1 out away from winning it also.
Yeah.
You're 1 out away from winning it. I mean, yeah. For that game. Jaxon, what do you think about that since you're on?
You
4 weeks.
You froze up for just a second. So ask him that again.
Yeah. So Jaxon, what do you think about, say we done 4 weekends where you could not win the tournament, that you just played 4 games, played 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and we came home?
Be exhausted.
You'd be exhausted?
You'd be tired? No, you're not understanding. He's proposing, rather than focusing on winning a tournament every weekend, what if we played a season of weekends, and then the way you did in those games are scheduled, so you don't have to worry every weekend about, hey, we won the tournament or we lost the tournament, right? You're just focused on playing those games, and then you seed it at the end, and there's maybe some kind of tournament at the end. But it's a deal where you're focused on playing those games.
I would like that more than what we do now.
You would?
Probably.
And you are think about this. So remember the fall tournament we finished runner-up, that 12U? We had to play 4 games on Sunday or something.
Mm-hmm.
It was something crazy. We was out of pitching. I know that because we was very limited in the fall. I would not let y'all go over a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that game? It was late. It was dark.
Play game?
Yeah,
so Jake beat Bourne, and then we had to play, I think, Express or somebody.
Yeah, the 211 you did.
Yeah, and the Canes made it. Yeah, and so you remember how exhausted you were after that? That's because you played 4 games in one day. And Bourne, that's how many they played. Sometimes you got to play 5. That's what's crazy. So what if this? What if we done? So I say next weekend we got a game, and I mean we got a tournament, but it's not a tournament; it's a season. And Hayden's pitching 1 game, you're pitching 1 game, Jake's pitching 1 game, and Mitch is pitching 1 game. All the other guys are in relief, and they have a certain game they're going to come in relief for, and then we do that for 4 weeks. To me, that would be so beautiful. But how would you feel about it?
Well, then we don't lose the first game on Saturday and not even get to play that other game. Yeah, Sunday. So how would you feel about something like that?
Well, I would like it because, well, not just for me, because the other kids, I think the parents would be more happy too, because like their kids are actually getting to play, and they know for sure, and the kids are going to know for sure that they're going to be able to pitch. And like, say we're on Sunday, and you tell me that I'm going to pitch the second game if we win. If we did like a season, I would know I'd be pitching. I would be able to get stretched and everything.
Boom. You'll be able to prepare for it better, I think,
Yeah.
mentally and physically. And so I think that's a good way to start it, to put it out there and say, hey, this is one issue that I'm seeing. And so, luckily we have the resources. So Mitch is going to throw Tuesday. He's going to get his pitching in, and I'm going to make sure Jake does. But those are two arms that that need their pitch count up and need to throw, and they should have thrown. But I can't just throw them the first game, and I could and I will, because I don't care. I don't care, and I will. And so that's just a great example why I think something has to change, and I think it's going to get forced into it. But here,
the plan was for them to throw, and so just because you lost that game, they lost opportunities.
Right.
And so, they may go 2-3 weekends and not get to pitch when they were fully prepared to pitch. They were ready to pitch. And it's not just pitching. It's, hey, what if this kid needs to play some more first base? Well, we'll play him some there in, the second game on Sunday. Well, the second game doesn't happen.
And also, this is the other thing about Sunday. You can't lose that game, so you don't play that kid.
Yeah,
in that position.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? There's so much pressure on the coach where it's like, I've got to have my best defense out there. Yeah. I do that less than most people, and I get fussed at that. I'm sure I got fussed at that this weekend. But here's the thing. I'm not going to not play the kid. He's on my team. I think, and so, that has to happen. And it happens all over the place. I have the opposite end call me on Monday and say, so and so coach didn't play my kid on Sunday, but and I was like, well, he's trying to win. I mean, and I hate it.
You're absolutely right. I mean, there are so many negatives to putting so much pressure. Again, so little emphasis on Saturday, and then so much emphasis on Sunday, that if you could just spread it out evenly over Saturday and Sunday, it would be a game changer for sure.
And then over weeks, a season. Yeah. And then you can say, all right, or, without giving my whole layout, because somebody's going to steal it. Just say you do 4 of them, and you have that 16 games in, you're able to have plenty of numbers and rankings, schedule. Record, runs allowed, all the stuff the same way we do it anyway, but you rank it, and you're able to see, all right, we're going to face the Canes that Jaxon brought up. They went whatever, here's a better team. We might be the 2 seed. We got to play the 3 seed. Then it becomes just strategy and fun, and then you do double eliminations, double, just like in baseball. A baseball regional. I mean, nobody complains about baseball regionals,
right?
They don't. It's very competitive. It's fair. It's let the best man win. But you have to have a good staff. We got a good staff, but not if we one hit, a bad loss is gonna, it's over.
Keeps you from being able to utilize it. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, if we lose that one game, I might have to go and grab my best arm and throw him on that regional, what we're calling a regional. Then you go do a super regional. Then you go then do your World Series, do your big play, do your Super Bowl at the end. That's exciting. Go win that one. Go win that one. We'll post a lot about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And instead of every weekend. And so that's the struggle. And there's going to be people, that disagree with that. They love it. And they love the excitement every weekend. They love the, you should be better and just win every weekend. Okay. I've seen teams do that. I've seen them. And I promise you, first of all, the team does not last. Second of all, the percentage of kids that go and play high school
Mm-hmm.
are low, and definitely the percentage of kids that go play college are very low on those teams. And it's weird. It's weird
yeah.
like that. Now, like what the reason I started doing prospect stuff, I want them just on the high school end. It's the best kid here. It's the best kid there. So you go showcase yourself. There's no practice, no training. But on the development end, I want this. I want this to be able to happen. I want Jaxon to be able to throw 4 innings in a game and throw 70 pitches and be done for the weekend. And really, I DH in the next game. I'd love to be able to do that because I have it planned out. That would help his career, in my opinion, so much. Same thing like with kids like Mitchell that catches all the time. Hayden, both of them are catchers and pitchers. Shortstops, to me, too much. It happens all the time. Where they're not going to be 100% on the mound because they wasn't able to rest. We don't ask pro athletes to do that.
That's what I was going to say. There's a reason. This is the same thing that I said earlier, but there's a reason that you don't see a whole lot of outfielders coming in to pitch a game in the major leagues or in college. I mean, it happens occasionally, but when those guys do, they're not getting up there pumping 90. I mean, those are the guys that are getting up there throwing the junk balls. But we don't call a whole bunch of shortstops up to the mound. Even in high school, you see it a little bit, but not a lot. We don't call a whole bunch of shortstops up to the mound to pitch 4 innings.
No, and it does happen. I mean, it happens, right down the road from there, and it's hard. And it was one of the ones that I saw that's struggling a little bit, and I think that's the reason. I mean, competitive, hardworking kid, but it's tough to do that. And I think he needs a day off. I think he needs to DH and let somebody else play shortstop. But that's a hard thing to do because that coach don't need to lose a game either.
Right. No,
and he's your best shortstop. So that's where, to me, it gets in the development side of like, all right, there's a kid in that dugout that needs to get better. Yeah. So let's get him better. Let's put him out there. Let's let him fail. Let's let him fail when he's 13 and 14 instead of, good Lord, he's the best, best player in tournament league ball. That don't matter. It doesn't matter. Like the two. I mean, so I say this all the time. Like the 2 big time prospects that got drafted last year, Jaxon Holiday and Max Clark. All the kids know him. Jackson Rogers. You know them 2 names right there I just said? Yes, sir. You've seen them, right? They're popular.
Yep.
How many tournaments did Jaxon Holiday win?
I don't know.
What organization does he play for? What team did he play for?
I know Matt Clark.
I know you know Max Clark, but I'm asking about Jaxon Holiday. I'll get to Max Clark in a minute. You don't know. And he was overall pick, like $15 million or something.
You're not supposed to know. That's the point.
Yeah. That's because it doesn't matter. It didn't matter how many tournaments he won. It doesn't matter. It's about how good he is individually. And then you go to Max Clark. Now, Max Clark's because he played for the Indiana Bulls, right? You knew that? Yes. That's what you was going to say?
No.
No? What was you going to say?
I was going to say like his high school.
Oh, his high school. You didn't know that he played for Indiana Bulls? All right. So Max Clark was kind of famous. I followed him, and he posted a lot about the Bulls. So there's a big Bulls organization in Indiana, and they're good, but they're not like a national 5-star or Canes or anything like that. They're kind of like us, but a little bit bigger than us. But he made them very, very popular because he posted a lot about it. So that's the only reason I know. But it don't matter. Yeah, your daddy's right. Like that's what I was saying. It don't matter. All that mattered is he got drafted, and at the end of the day, when you get an opportunity to sign a scholarship, that's all that's going to matter too. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. We're going to be super proud. Some of the guys we've had on here, JD Harvey, he's going to sign a scholarship. I promise you. Certain schools, I hope he does. My own opinion, I can't say yet, and I can't wait till I do. But when it happens, nobody's going to ask how many tournaments y'all wanted at 12U when I coached him, and or 13U or 14U. We struggled at 14U. We played some teams that had some kids that were grown, and JD struggled. We struggled. It was hard, man. I remember that. His daddy remembers that. Man, he coached with me. It was like, man, it's hard. But guess what? He's one of the better catchers in the state. It don't matter. It didn't matter that he lost those games, but he done what he was supposed to do. And he didn't let that affect him. He just kept getting better. It probably made him better. I think it made him better. He don't play for a high school that wins every game. Also, I think that keeps him driving too. So all that comes into that. There's some pieces of that needs to happen, and I think that we take that away by chasing rings on Sunday. So,
man, I love it. I love the conversation.
Yeah.
And it's one that, again, that you're passionate about, and the more I follow him and the more I keep up with it, I get more passionate about. And I completely agree that, again, we put too much emphasis on Sundays, not enough emphasis on Saturdays, and the fact that one game, Matt said here on Instagram, 4 games is best case scenario. Most teams have 10 to 12 players. One bad inning for a pitcher can throw off your whole pitching plan for the whole tournament. You may have to burn pitchers in that game, and you don't know how many games you're going to have to play after that. So, 4 games, like you're saying, is pretty ideal for
no doubt, and longer games. So that was a big issue in the coaches' chat with Bull Baseball. They had to go and play hour and 5-minute games. Good. I mean, you can't get in. That's 2 innings, just about. And so an hour and a half a game is good. When they get older, they do bump it up. When they get showcase ball, it is 2 hours. It's a 2-hour game. You're going to play 6 to 7 innings for sure, unless it's just super sloppy. And man, it does make so much. It makes it so much easier. I think these youth could play an hour 30. Not this. Oh, don't start another one after hour 25. Why is that even in there? What does that mean? Why
just say it's an hour 25.
It's an hour 25 because them umpires are not going to start it. If it's an hour 30, hour 30. Hour 30, you could get 5 innings in if it's a clean game.
There are some of those games, though, man, that it's an hour and a half or whatever, and it gets delayed and it gets started late, and you got 3 or 4 kids in the lineup that only get 1 at bat. Like that's not making them better either. We haven't
dealt with this yet. But some of those teams that when we get born on here and we start talking about those terrible teams we used to play, that's what I'd get so upset about is coaches fussing at umpires. It wasted so much time. And I'm over there ticked off because I'm like, my guy's going to throw 20 pitches and I need him to throw 45 to 50 or whatever. Or my kids are only going to get 2 at bats and I need them to get 3. It's wasting time. This is what I paid for for my kids to get opportunities. And y'all are sitting here arguing about a stupid call that it's not going to alter the game. That's why you won't see me argue something besides something real crazy, that they're being very idiotic on,
Right.
And most time I don't waste time on it. If you, anytime like it happened this weekend, Gage slid in third. He was safe. Umpire don't have the angle. He can't see it. He swam. He swam around him. He can't see it. I just asked for help. Hey, for 2 seconds, he said he's out. He's out. I'm not going to argue. He was safe. Who cares? It's not going to change the game. We shouldn't have tried to get third with that was a second out. Him getting a third with 2 outs didn't matter as much. So that was just a teaching point for Gage. You don't need to be that aggressive right there. It's no big deal. I like you being a dog, but make sure you know it's necessary. So I could have wasted time is what I'm getting at. And that 5 minutes matters, and so I hate that stuff. So yes, I wish games were longer and I wish we had 4 guaranteed and not even just guaranteed. That's it. Like go home. Yeah. Play. Also, this is the other big, huge thing. So I have a daughter that I have to take to her mother on Sunday. It's hard to plan anything on Sunday in your life. That's a very serious thing I have to plan. But people have other things. They have church and other stuff. You could plan stuff around a schedule if you wasn't like, well, I don't know when we'll get done Sunday. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and so, yeah, I think there's some weekends that need to be that way. but I think the majority of them don't. I think we
Well,
need to see them.
you just hit on something, and we've been going for an hour and a half, but this has been great. But you did just hit on something too with the games being shorter and being sped up because umpires are arguing or umpires do the whole can't start after 5 minutes and that kind of thing. But I think some of that happens because those umpires know they got to call 5 games that day.
Yeah,
they got to call 6 games that day, and so they're trying to get those games over with. Where if you had it where it was just 2 games, they knew it was 2 games. You don't get that sped up umpire. You don't get that, calling a ball in the left-handed batter's box a strike because we're trying to get this at bat over with. Because now, like I said, these umpires know, man, I got to call 4 more games after this. I got to get this over with.
And it also helps them with their life. A lot of them might be single fellas. They got a date that night. Well, they might say, "Well, man, I don't know. I gotta umpire these championship games." Obviously they don't keep the whole umpires there. Some of them got to stay and some of them don't. But if they had a schedule, think how much sharper they'd be instead of worry about, man, my wife's gonna kill me, son. Or whatever. They can say, "Hey, I'll get done at 6:00 and I'm gone." And tournament companies would make the same thing. We're there on Saturday, we're there on Sunday. The only difference might be concessions, but it'd be the same thing, and it would solve a lot of these problems, in my opinion. But
look, you would actually get, we complain about gate fees and things. You would actually get on a lot of weekends more games for your money because, like last weekend, we went down there, paid for entry for 2 games on Saturday, and then on Sunday paid entry for 1 game because we lost the first game,
right?
And there's going to be teams that lose the first game every weekend, so they paid the same amount of money for 3 games. That if you had 4 scheduled, you know what you're getting.
Yep. There's all kind of wins to it, and I think that it's to a level now that you've got enough people excited. Now let's make it good and let's make it make sense. There's plenty of travel ball teams, plenty of I think you would have to not just sanction, but they have to register for this particular season, and I'm not going to get into too details because like I said, I've got it laid out.
You got to copyright it.
I've got it. I've thought a lot about it, and I finally put it on paper after Bourne was fussing about how many games they had to play and how it just seems so ridiculous. Like they played great. Like it should be over. There's no reason you should play that late game. And here's the crazy thing that I've seen: 7-8-year-old kids having to play at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and they get school the next day. What in the world have we done? What do we do with, And that's idiotic. That's over a baseball game that they're going to play hundreds, thousands of. And we're worried about this 1 game so we can go home like, man, was there to midnight, but we won it, man. We pulled it off, and we forget about that. Y'all have done that, I know y'all have. And I know you're driving back home from Jaxon or the coast saying, good job, buddy. School's gonna be terrible tomorrow.
Give me crap in the morning. That's the conversation.
Yeah.
Do we not have that conversation?
I've had to miss school because of baseball.
That's ridiculous to me.
We go up to South
I love
Haven.
it.
We're going to go up to South Haven in a few weeks, and if we play all day Sunday like we hope to do, we get back to Hattiesburg, man. I mean, this one may miss school on Monday because it's like I can't. No way I can get him up.
Yep. It gets crazy. So I know we're way over our time, but look, we'll I think we should do this like every few podcasts, just open conversation. And we'll get more and more chime in for sure. And I'm sure we'll get some messages after this and we'll bring it back. It's fun. We need this. I know I need my vent. I need my vent podcast. Not have a guest on that we have to focus around that topic. But this has definitely been fun. Jaxon, thank you, buddy.
He's got a question, I think.
Oh, go.
So I don't remember when, but you mentioned one time about your coaching style is the same way that you got coached.
Yeah, it is. So Coach Bray was my high school coach. Just about everything we do is definitely similar to how he coached me, and the expectations of little things, to all the way to our signs. Like your signs that I give you are the exact same signs I had in high school. So
he wrote that down earlier, and he wanted when you were talking about coaching
Yeah.
earlier, and he's been pointing at it, and I've been putting him off, but he wanted to say that. Jaxon, man, we do appreciate having you on. Have you had a good time with us?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Anytime.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have to we'll plan a day. We might do a weekend podcast or something. We get some of the boys on and mix it up. That's always fun because, like I said, we all have our opinions, but nobody ever asked the kids.
No.
So that's pretty cool, and I appreciate you being mature, buddy, and being able to do that and getting it out there, and I'm sure some of the other ones are going to be like, hey, I want to come, now.
Well,
So
I know Jake's, like I said, Jake was watching, so I know he knows. So
yeah.
Well, man, this has been the
Yeah.
Small Ball Podcast. I'm Charlie Rogers. He's Chancy Rogers. He's Jaxon Rogers. And man, you got any final thoughts, Chancy? I know we've gone a long time, but I do appreciate we still got people hanging with us, so I appreciate everybody being with us.
No doubt, and we keep doing this. We want any input, the good, bad, and ugly. The kind of what this is. Let us know what you want us to kind of talk about. We got more guests. I've got a whole list of them that I'm gonna bring on, but I want to do this from time to time. I just thought about it this week. After this weekend, I hit Charlie up and said, let's just talk. And so yeah, that's as Jackson mom's there. So Jake's mom.
Jake's mom,
yeah. So wanted to do this, and yeah, it's definitely fun, and I want more coaches to chime in. I'm gonna try to. I've been trying to get another travel ball coach, and so we can have this discussion further. Now I've got a few in mind. I want one with an opinion that's seen it for a while, seen the results, far as like the directions kids go after they experience all this, and so we'll get more in depth with this for sure. And no, it's exciting. So once I get this new layout, I guess published, we're gonna talk more about it because it's coming.
I'm copyright it.
I'm very as Charlie says, once I get my mind on something, I get very determined, and so I'll make it happen, just like this podcast. So we're gonna make this happen. We just got to figure out what route we're gonna do it and who we're gonna do it with. So.
Man, this has been a lot of fun. Chancy, I appreciate you. I appreciate our sponsor, The First. Everybody that chimed in tonight, Sparkman, Shannon, Miss Marita, everybody, Matt, Ward, Mike, all those folks that have chimed in tonight. We appreciate you. You guys make the show go smoother and better, and give us more things to talk about. And Jackson's watching too. So I just appreciate all of y'all. And again, this has been the Small Ball Podcast. Join us next week. But until then, see ya.
See ya. Hey. So I got it. I just happened